Hello, I'm Common. Let's get into the nitty gritty. I hate to say this, but Kamala Harris should have never been the Democratic nominee. And it's not for the reasons that some of you may think. I mean, I have friends on Facebook, and they say some pretty cruel things about the woman that if you said to their mother or their sister, you'd probably get the shit slapped out of you. But it is what it is. But in this instant, it has nothing to do with their qualifications. It has everything to do with Hillary Clinton. When she was running, I love Bill Clinton. I'm going to be honest with you. He's my favorite president, at least in my lifetime. He did more to help the average American. We had a balanced budget. Social Security was straight for 100 years. And if you don't believe me, look it up. And needless to say, George Bush Jr. came in and destroyed all that. But people just aren't ready for a woman in this country. Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody, most people, love women. They love their mothers. They love their sisters. But this country definitely isn't ready for a woman. And I hate to put the icing on the cake. A woman of color. Now, me personally, I don't care. As long as you're qualified to do the job. And on that note, a lot of people that I'm friends with on Facebook said she's not qualified. Oh, she's more than qualified. She's been in the government, either state or federal, the majority of her adult life. So she knows the inner workings of it. So I don't know how that would make her less qualified than Donald Trump, who was never in the government and doesn't know the internal workings. So I don't get that. And then those of us that are married or divorced, myself, I used to work a lot to provide for my family. And, I'd work 10, 11, 12-hour days. I'd work on Saturday. And just to make sure my family had what they wanted. I grew up dirt poor, and I said, that's not going to happen for my family. So I made sure that my family was provided for. But guess who took care of the household? My wife. I was never home. I'd come home to eat and sleep and repeat. Sometimes the family would see me on Saturday afternoon. I didn't work Sundays. But the thing is, I did what I had to do. So my wife's paying the bills because I'm not there to pay the bills. My wife is making sure the kids are fed. They're clean. They're ready for school. Their homework is done. Doesn't that make you qualified to do something? Think about it. You're running a whole household. I mean, I know the government's on a larger scale, but you have a general idea of things that need to get done. Where me, I didn't. I know how to pay bills because I paid them before I got married. But I didn't have the responsibility of the children. I didn't have the responsibility of making sure that they could read, that they were doing their math homework because I was never home. The funny thing in our society is if you have a lot of money, you don't have a lot of time. If you have no money, you got too much time. It's kind of funny. You're making $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year. You're not home that often. You're making $30,000. You'll be home at 5 o'clock on the dot, because that's the thing with our society and the way things are run. You have to make the money to take care of your family. And as a woman that's at home, because I've heard other YouTube videos, she's not qualified. She doesn't know how it is. Now I know she doesn't have kids, but she's had her own house. Had to make sure that the lights are on, if the plumbing's going bad. Either call somebody and make sure that's taken care of. No different than government. You can't do it all by yourself. You have to have qualified people alongside of you to make sure that you can get the job done. And I hate to say it, they should have nominated a man. It's just our country. It's not ready for it. Hillary Clinton, white woman, well-educated, was in the government for 8 years with her husband. She's more qualified than Trump ever was. Never spent a day in government. Trump wasn't a lawyer. Trump, wasn't a senator. He had no clue about how the government works. And then you have somebody like, say, Gavin Newsom, who I have some problems with, but Gavin is very charismatic. He's very intelligent. He's well-spoken. He can think on the dime, you know. He's got those comebacks if you ever watched him. And I like my governor. I live here in Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro. Now, the only thing with Josh is, and I hate to say this because personally I don't give a shit. Either you're a good person or you're a bad person. That's the way I look at people. But Josh is Jewish, and I thought she should have nominated him to be on the ticket. But needless to say, it's because he's Jewish, and there are some white people out there the tiki torch white people. Jews will not replace us. Jews will not replace us. And they probably wouldn't get the vote anyways if he was the second on the ticket. But now, if either one of these gentlemen, and I'm quite sure, you know, those people that are viewing, I'm just starting this channel, so people that are viewing this video could probably name other men in this country, other governors that I'm unaware of because I don't know their policy. Even Governor Walz, I started learning about some of his policies after he was nominated to be VP, and I like the gentleman. I think he's a decent human being, and he could have ran for the office. And the Democrats, I hate to say, you shit the bed as usual. They do not fight. That's the only thing. Like I said, I'm an independent. I voted both ways, either Democrat or Republican, depending upon the candidate. And what I don't like about Democrats is they're not fighters. I'm not a big fan of Trump, but needless to say, he's a fighter. I will give him credit for that. And if you want to change any of this, learn more so you can do better.